And we broadcast also on YouTube at NRP Media JA and on Facebook as well. Stay with us right here as we bring the newscast to you right here on this station. It's Valentine's Day, and it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. A little bit under the weather, but we will go through as much as we possibly can. And with you, we can also do a wonderful job of having you with us this morning. It's such a pleasure to be here. Let's go now to the newscast right here on NRP Radio and NRP Media. Good morning. A very pleasant morning to you, and welcome now to the news right here on NRP Radio, on the platform nrpmediaja.com, and on Facebook and YouTube, NRP Media JA. It's Wednesday, February 14. I am Leon Nash with the NRP Break of Day newscast for today. It's Valentine's Day. Now, for the details of the news, and just to remind you that the news this morning comes to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. The opposition People's National Party has called on the Andrew Holness-led government to provide details to the country of how they intend to finance the increase in the income tax threshold from $1.5 million that it has been since 2016 to $3 million. PNP president and the opposition leader Mark Golin, in a statement, says last September the opposition called for the increase in the threshold. However, he says at that time the government refused to heed the call. But he says that this year, in the campaign leading up to the local government elections, the Prime Minister announced that the government is considering the same movement. Mr. Golding, calling that a gimmick by the Prime Minister, says it was now time for the details of this upward movement in the threshold to be revealed so Jamaicans can appreciate the level to which any benefits last, that any benefits last could be restored.
Now, fine, but let's hear some details. How much are they going to increase it to? How are they going to pay for it? It's very important because last time when they did it, they said it would cost no new taxes, but in fact, they had to impose 31 billion approximately of additional taxes per year. And they did so through indirect taxes on the backs of the people to pay for it. And by 2019, poverty had increased from 11 to over 16%, and inequality, as measured by the Gini coefficient, had also worsened in Jamaica.
That was PNP president and the opposition leader, Mark Golding. And Mr. Golding says this explanation of the newly announced tax threshold movement is paramount at this time, as the Jamaican worker earning less than $29,000 per week will not benefit.
So we would like to hear how they plan to pay for it. It must not be on the backs of the Jamaican people, bearing in mind that anyone earning under $29,000 a week will not get a benefit from this increase. They certainly should not be called on to pay for it. When I said increase it to $3 million, I had in mind a way of funding it, of paying for it, which did not involve imposing any new taxes on the Jamaican people. But we'd like to hear how they plan to do it, what amount they plan to give, and so on, and when they plan to phase it in, so the people are not going to be hoodwinked again by this fresh gimmick of a tax promise.
That was PNP President and Opposition Leader Mark Goling. Mr. Goling, Anthony Hilton, Member of Parliament for Western St. Andrew, Hazel Anderson of the Seaview Gardens Division, Michelle Thomas, Councillor Candidate for the Duhaney Park Division, Byron Clark, Councillor Candidate for the Waterhouse Division, Sean McGregor, Councillor Candidate for the Raytown Division, and other party officials and councillor candidates are expected to participate in a tour of Western St. Andrew and Raytown today. That should be tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. In other news, the police are calling on candidates in the February 26 local government elections and their supporters to exercise safety and order on the roads. Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie expressed concern about the protrusion of bodies from vehicles during motorcades, noting that this is dangerous and could result in serious injuries and fatalities. ACP McKenzie says it is very important that such campaigns, especially the fact that people are traveling, that they do so safely, reminding that personal responsibility is the order of the day while they are traveling on the different thoroughfares. ACP McKenzie is reminding campaign organizers that they are required to inform the police before staging events and to adhere to the noise ordinance and event cutoff time. A total of 499 candidates will vie for the seats as councillors in the 228 electoral divisions across the 63 constituencies and for mayor of the municipality of Portmore during the local government elections. Local representatives are responsible for governance at the community level, including the development, management, and maintenance of infrastructure and public facilities. Local government elections were last held in 2016. The polls, which are due every 4 years, were postponed on 3 occasions as a result of public health restrictions related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Jamaica will host the second Global Tourism Resilience Conference at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James from February 16 to 17. The Ministry of Tourism and the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center are collaborating to stage the 2-day event. It will feature panel discussions and networking opportunities, presentations, and lively debates on matters relating to building resilience in tourism. Prime Minister Andrew Holness will address the conference on Saturday, February 17, with the inaugural Global Tourism Resilience Awards slated to be held later that evening. In his remarks during a media briefing at the Jamaica Tourist Board in New Kingston, Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett said the first day of the conference will be dedicated to the academic and the other thought leadership discussions and discourses. Mr. Bartlett added that the second day will be the day dedicated to discussions on tourism resilience as set out by the United Nations as designated as Global Tourism Resilience Day. And he added that Jamaica is particularly proud of this designation as it is become as it is because rather of the Prime Minister's speech to the UN in September of last year. Meanwhile, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett says that while Jamaica's natural attractions have been drawing visitors to the island, it is to recognize the untapped potential of other value-added entities. It is time to recognize the untapped potential of other value-added entities. The minister, who was speaking to reporters in Montego Bay, St. James, said even though the traditional subsectors have undoubtedly been the backbone of the tourism industry, there is still room to create a more inclusive and diversified experience for the visitors. Mr. Bartlett was quick to point out that he was in no way suggesting an abandoning of Jamaica's pristine beaches or lush landscapes. Instead, he was recommending a diversifying of our offerings, providing a more comprehensive and dynamic Jamaican experience. He said, as a nation, we must align with the changing preferences of modern travelers who seek authentic and culturally immersive experiences. The Jamaica Teachers Association yesterday commenced its 60th anniversary celebrations with a media launch at its 97B Church Street in Kingston office. JTA President Leighton Johnson declared at that meeting that the celebration is not just an opportunity to look back, but to look forward, standing on a new era in education. He says that the new dimension will require innovation, adaptability, and a renewed commitment to excellence.
The JTA, with its legacy of resilience and dedication, is poised to lead the charge in navigating these uncharted waters. In an ever-evolving world, where societal norms, economic structures, and labor markets undergo constant reforms, the relevance of the Jamaica Teachers Association is more vital than ever before.
That was JTA President Leighton Johnson. And the JTA president added that as the association navigates the challenges facing the education sector, it will need to do so within a system that is fair and just.
As we navigate the complexities of the 21st century, it is crucial to recognize and appreciate enduring significance of the JTA in fostering a fair, just, and equitable education sector, which will ultimately lead to the transformed Jamaica.
That was JTA President Leighton Johnson. The theme for the JTA's year-long observation of its anniversary will be preserving the legacy, remaining relevant for the future. A major operation carried out by the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Custom Agency has led to a significant cache of firearms being intercepted at the Freeport warehouse in Montego Bay, St. James last weekend. This operation is a significant blow to the transnational movement of illegal weapons from North America into the Caribbean, demonstrating the effectiveness of combined efforts by the law enforcement agencies to combat organized crime and protect our nation's borders. Utilizing advanced non-intrusive inspection technology, the JCA officers detected anomalies within a shipment from Florida, USA during a routine scanning procedure. The suspicious consignment, a blue plastic barrel addressed to a recipient in Bogue Village in Montego Bay, St. James, prompted a thorough investigation by the contraband enforcement team. The police reported that about 10 a.m. last Friday, officers uncovered a total of 14 firearms and 15 magazines hidden among household items. The police say the discovery of the high-powered weapons is attributed to the diligent application of intelligence and cutting-edge technology, underscoring the commitment of the JCF and the JCA to safeguarding the nation against the influx of illegal firearms. A man known only as CJ, Fugitive, and Shippy have been identified as persons of interest in the investigation. The authorities believe that this man can help advance their investigation and are asking him to report to the nearest police station by midday today, February 14. Meanwhile, members of the public are being urged to share any information they believe may be helpful in advancing this and other investigations. Persons may call the Police Emergency 119 Crime Stop at 311, the NIB tip line at 811, or the nearest police station. You are listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations. Now let's give you some sporting information brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They are located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica.
Hepburn's Glass Appliance is the latest trend-setting supplier of glass and mirrors in the industry. We specialize in tinted and clear glasses, as well as mirrors for all your windows, doors, and closets at very competitive prices. To maximize your shopping experience, we stock 316 and 1/8 mirror thickness and 316 and quarter thickness in our entire stock of float glasses. We have in stock gloves, cutters, and suction cups at unbeatable prices. Our customer service is second to none, with same-day cutting for your specific measurements. Visit our office at 13 Chisholm Avenue, Kingston 13. Call us at 9080962 or email hepburn.glass@gmail.com. Hepburn's Glass, quality service is our priority.
At 6:49, we run off on athletics following yesterday's staging of the Eastern Championships at the National Stadium. St. Mary High emerged the winners with 684.5 points, followed by Port Antonio High on 303 points and Oberlin High School on 270 points. Closely in fourth position was St. Mary Technical High on 192 and Buff Bay High School on 154.5 points, rounding off the top five. The other schools with double-digit scores were Robert Lightburn, Anata Bay, Arokabesa High, Karen Hall High, and Horace Clark High School. St. Mary St. Mary High also dominated the female category with 444.5 points, while Teachfield High dominated in the male category with 265 points. On international football, Manchester City resumed their Champions League title defense with a comfortable victory at FC Copenhagen in the first leg at their last 16 tie. After Kevin De Bruyne gave Pep Guardiola's side an early lead, it looked like they were going to go on to claim a big win, as the hosts barely laid a glove on them. But Edison gifted the ball straight to Copenhagen with a poor clearance, and Magnus Madsen took full advantage with a fantastic strike. Bernardo Silva put Manchester City ahead again just before halftime with a clever flick after a ball from De Bruyne deflected through to him. De Bruyne and Erling Haaland had further chances to add to the lead after the break. And although City were not quite at their attacking best, they ensured they left with a 2-goal cushion thanks to Phil Foden's late strike. Finally, on cricket, Captain Ben Stokes says his 100th cap is just a number as he prepares to become the 16th man to reach a century of tests for England. The 32-year-old Stokes will reach the milestone when he leads England in the third test against India in Rajkot tomorrow. In an interview, Stokes said, "Every test is just as important as the next one. Then there is the next one, which will be 101. It's just one more," Stokes added. "It's a sign of longevity, but 99, 100, or 101 doesn't make much difference," he further pointed out. All-rounder Stokes made his test debut against Australia in Adelaide in 2013, and he has gone on to have one of the most and successful careers in English cricketing history. That's sports in the NRP Break of Day newscast, brought to you by Hepburn's Glass. They're located at 13 Chisholm Avenue in Kingston, Jamaica. Keep it locked right here on NRP Radio. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please feel free to reach out to us Please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com. I repeat, nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com, or call or WhatsApp 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest from the VOA with our international news out of the USA. It's now time. Let's join the VOA for the latest.
Thompson.
And I'm Dan Novak.
This is VOA News. I'm Tommy McNeil. Two officials say Israel and Hamas continue to make progress toward a deal that aims to bring about a ceasefire and free hostages held in the war-ravaged Gaza Strip. Key meetings have been continuing between the sides in the Egyptian capital of Cairo. A U.S. State Department spokesperson said Tuesday that the U.S. is exploring all available alternatives to sustain aid in Gaza, despite the possibility Congress may pass legislation barring funding for UNRWA, the main UN agency for Palestinians. Washington last month said it was temporarily pausing new funding to UNRWA while President staff took part in the October 7th attacks on Israel.
It is our priority to ensure that innocent civilians in Gaza can continue to get humanitarian assistance from the United States and from other countries who want to provide it to them.
State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller also urged the UN to proceed with its investigation on the matter as quickly as possible. The Republican-controlled U.S. House of Representatives Tuesday narrowly voted to impeach Democratic President Joe Biden's top border official, accusing him of tax policies that encourage illegal immigration. Reuters' Ryan Chang.
Mayorkas is Democratic President Joe Biden's top border official, and this marks the first time in nearly 150 years a cabinet member has been impeached, since a Secretary of War was investigated for corruption way back in 1876. The House approved 2 articles of impeachment accusing Mayorkas of not enforcing U.S. immigration laws, which Republicans argue led to record flows of migrants across the U.S.-Mexico border, as well as making false statements to Congress.
On this vote, the yeas are 214 and the nays are 213. The resolution is adopted.
A first vote failed last week.
More at voanews.com. This is VOA News.
Thank you very much for listening there to the latest from the Voice of America. As you heard that last item with an impeachment of one of Mr. Biden's cabinet members. Now for the weather report and forecast brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio. We're reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. The National Meteorological Service of Jamaica is reporting that there is a significant feature of a prefrontal trough across Jamaica. The trough is expected to remain throughout today, and a ridge is expected to build across the island this evening and remain for the rest of the week. In the 24-hour forecast this morning, expect mostly cloudy conditions with isolated showers across the western parishes, partly cloudy elsewhere. This afternoon, there should be isolated afternoon showers across southwestern parishes, partly cloudy elsewhere. Tonight, becoming fair. In the 3-day forecast starting tomorrow, that's Thursday through to Saturday, on Thursday and Friday, mainly sunny to partly cloudy conditions throughout the day. And on Saturday, sunny and windy. Other current regional weather features are there's a cold front across the Western Caribbean. The maximum temperature expected for Kingston and Montego Bay today. For Kingston, 31 degrees Celsius. For Montego Bay, 30 degrees Celsius. That's our latest weather report and forecast right here on NRP Media and NRP Radio. With that, we've come to the end of our news right here on NRP Radio. And just to give you a peek of the news items that we brought to you, opposition leader calls on the Andrew Holness-led government to provide details to the country of how it intends to finance the increase of the income tax threshold. Police are calling on candidates in the February 26th local government elections and their supporters to exercise safety and order on the roads. Jamaica will host the second Global Tourism Resilience Conference at the Montego Bay Convention Center in St. James from February 16 to 17. And the JTA yesterday launched its 60th anniversary celebrations with a media blitz at the 97B Church Street offices in Kingston. And in sports, let's give that to you now. Yesterday, the Eastern Championships at the National Stadium, St. Mary High emerged the winner with 684.5 points, followed by Port Antonio High on 303 points. The full package of news that this morning came to you courtesy of NRP the NRP radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations. We invite you to join us again at 6:30 this evening for the NRP Evening News Roundup. Until then, my name is Leon Nash. Have for yourselves a good one, and we look forward to you joining us again at that time where we give to you the latest news. Stay with us. Coming up next will be the program Let the Word Speak with Reverend Paul Blair. And 47 says, "My soul praises the Lord. My heart rejoices in God, my Savior." This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 7 a.m.